played on me. I wish the girl was mine. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm bound for Shady Grove. And I come here to marry. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm bound for Shady Grove. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm bound for Shady Grove. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm bound for Shady Grove. Hello and welcome back to FiddleUP. I'm Emerald Ray, and today we're going to work on Shady Grove. So this is a classic old-time song, and the way I do it is a little bit different. I actually got this bluesy version of it from a Scottish singer named Chris Drever, and just years ago. And it's not how you usually hear this song, which is how which is why I love to do it this way. It's super bluesy, which is like a lot of my songs that I do are blues flavored. But it's also great. It's nice and easy to sing along with. I like to get the audience singing along with this one because it's really easy. And also it's great, I feel, for people who already know the song. It's a nice way to kind of change it up for them and give them a slightly different version, because there's so many different versions of all of these old traditional songs. And this is one of those ones that, we'll talk about all the variations as we get into this one. There's a lot going on here. So I'm going to talk about the chopping first. Now, you don't have to chop for this one. You could actually pick up some other kind of rhythm to do. But the chopping is a little bit intense in this one. So I'll talk about what I'm doing here. So in the intro, so we have, this isn't all in A minor. So we have an A minor on the bottom, A and E on the bottom. And then I'm adding a G on top of there to give it a nice seventh. So it sounds like a nice cool seventh chord. Get some cool dissonance going there with very little effort. So, so I'm voicing the A and then heading up to the G. So that is voicing a G chord. So we have a B on the bottom and a G. So that's how we're going to go along with this chop pattern here. So I'm doing down, 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 and a chop it down, down. Something like that. So I'm changing it up there a little bit. It's kind of the rule of three that if you do something twice, you should probably do something a little bit different on the end. So I'm fully voicing that C on the top. So I have a C on my A string. So I'm getting a really nice A minor seventh chord there. So all together it sounds like this. So what I'm voicing there is a D, like an open D. It's probably a D major, but we don't know. Could be anything. So that's an A on the bottom string, A on the G string, and then an open D. And then I'm heading up to, it is a major actually. I answered my own question. Heading up to the C, the F sharp there. I know my note names, don't I? So we have open D, and then to that F sharp there, and then back to the A again. So if you wanted to do this all without chops, you could do. Or something like that. You can also change up the chop pattern to whatever you want to do. So let's try that with the lyrics. So peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can't have my little love, I'll have no one at all. Peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can't have the one I love, I'll have no one at all. So I got it wrong there. If I can have the one I love. So it's really good to talk through your lyrics because it's like it gets a little bit disconnected from the story and your mouth sometimes. So like I did, that's a good reason to, if I can't have the one I love, I'll have no one at all. So peaches in the summertime. Peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can't have the one I love, I'll have no one at all. So, and then we're just going to take that exact same chord progression and go into the chorus. Shady, shady grove, my little love. Shady grove, I know. Shady grove, my little love. I'm bound for Shady Grove. So together that sounds like peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can't have the one I love, I'll have no one at all. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm bound for Shady Grove. And then after that, I go straight into the melody. And I'm keeping that up on the top octave first. And then I do a little spill down to the bottom because I have to get to the bottom again. And then I'm getting right into the if I had a banjo string. So let's try that again, that little melody line. And you could go, whatever you want to do there, but I kind of like to lead it down into the bottom and into the next verse, which is, if I had a banjo string made of golden twine, every tune I played on it, I'd wish that girl was mine. So it might seem like these verses are disconnected and nonsensical, and you would be right. That is actually the point of this. This is a very classic old time. These two verses, in fact, show up in a lot of other songs. I kind of have a theory that there's really only 5 old-time songs. They just have changed the melody and switched things around. But there's really only 5 core songs as far as I can tell. So this one is varied greatly, but these 2 verses that we've done so far show up in a lot of other places, and you'll hear them. So, peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I had a banjo string made of golden twine. These are just like classic verses that you'll find in a lot of different places. So, with the same chop pattern and everything, we'll do if I had a banjo string made of golden twine. Every tune I play on it, I'd wish the girl was mine. And then back into the chorus again. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm bound for Shady Grove. And then I go into the melody again. But did you see how I gave myself a really long final note with my voice? So, Shady Grove, my little love, I'm bound for Shady Grove. That's a little extended, but you can see what happens there. I like to do that because I feel like it blends it all together and makes it feel like more of an arrangement than it actually is. It's just a little arrangement trick. And it sounds very classic, old-timey to do that too, to just keep doing a nice long note at the end. So it just blends everything together nicely. And then by the time people's ears have caught up, then you're already into the next thing. So here's the next instrumental break. And you don't have to take all these breaks. I just feel like this tune is such a fiddle tuney kind of thing. This happens a lot in old time songs where they're kind of half and half a song and half a fiddle tune. So that's what we're going for here. And so and I do that same spill, and then I do the melody again on the bottom. And changing octaves is a really good way to do the same thing again and have it feel like it's something different. And so I'm just playing around with a little variation there. You could keep it more straight if you wanted to. Like really playing around with that really growliness at the bottom. And then something I like to do that sounds a little bit rock and roll. Really play around with that weirdness with the parallel fifths there. So I'm just doing a... So, and I like to just kind of play around with some weirdness there and have it sound really funky and cool. And then, so I've played the melody twice, and what I'm going to do after that is give a little lead up into the third verse, because because this tune is so repetitive. I really wanted to make sure that verse 3 was a big deal. And it is a little bit, it is a little bit of a different feel to it. So I do a lead up. And, you know, it's good to switch up when you're doing a lot of chopping or a lot of something. It's good to switch it up every once in a while. So I'm just doing these really zhuzhy bow patterns. So I'm going from that A minor 7 to a G. And now I'm going to change and go to a C chord here. So that is a C on the bottom and then an E on the D string. And I'm just lifting up my strings just to kind of damp them and give them a little kind of ghosty feel. And that's really easy to do. You can totally do that. It's not hard to do. It's just it adds a lot for what it is. And then at the end, I do this little double harmonic thing all the time. I probably do it too much. It's kind of my thing. But if you want to try it. So I'm just reaching up and doing a harmonic on both the G and the D string. If you watch my show, you will see me do that too many times. I really like it. It's fun. It's just kind of like a little fun thing that my hand ends up doing, and it's part of my sound, and I like it. So there you go. So what I've done there is give it a little lead up and actually, you know, change and reharmonize for a second so people's ears are picked up, because people can tend to fall into the rhythm of the song, and when you change things up like that, it doesn't have to be dramatic. It just kind of clues their ear into that something different is about to happen. And so I like to go for full drama on the third verse and go, some come here to fiddle and dance, some come here to tarry, some come here to fiddle and dance, and I come here to marry. So yeah, we know why we're here. So again, nonsense verses that show up in other songs. So some come here to fiddle and dance, some come here to tarry, some come here to fiddle and dance, and I come here to marry. So you can do it like that if you want. You can also just chop through and do your thing if this isn't your style. But it's actually nice to take a little break every once in a while. And it adds some drama. So some come here to fiddle and dance, some come here to tarry, some come here to fiddle and dance, and I come here Mary. And so, you know, it's a really simple way to change things up in a very ear-catching way, but actually not do any extra work, actually do way less work than the other couple of verses. So then we're going into kind of, you know, the big, you know, exciting part of the song. So I'm going to do a triple chorus, which is not very usual to do. I mean, you sometimes do it, but it's kind of, you have to have a reason to do it. So the reason I do so much chorus at the end is just to fill out the end a little bit, but also because in my show when I'm singing this, usually people are like singing along by then, and I usually let that go as long as possible. I kind of improvise the end. So, you know, double chorus. It's not a long chorus, so it doesn't feel very long. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm bound for Shady Grove. So I kind of sometimes throw a G in instead of a D, and things get kind of deconstructed at the end sometimes. But things that I do will, sometimes I will take that A to G to C pattern. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, and then go down to the G at the bottom. Bound for Shady Grove, Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, bound for Shady Grove. One more time. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, bound for Shady Grove. And then keep going if they want to. It's totally up to the audience at that point when I'm singing this. And then just kind of leave it on whenever you're done. I'm bound for Shady Grove. And then go back into that double instrumental. You know, and just let it go wild at the end. And just, you know, do that. And that is kind of like a ridiculously cheesy rock and roll style, blues style ending that I like to do at the end. So, you know, there's lots of kind of cheesy rock and roll endings that you can do. But that one's kind of subtle. You know, you could go a little bit more crazy by doing that. Or whatever you feel like doing there. So that is my version of this song, and I hope you enjoy this song as much as I do, and I hope you take it and take it to some really interesting places. And I will see you in the next video.